أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. We start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we send our salam and salawat on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, we are doing a new series for the last 6 to 7 weeks that we are going through the short biographies of the four Imam, the famous four Imam. And in that journey, we have finished the life story of Imam Abu Hanifa. And we also, last week, we started the life story of the biography of Imam Malik. So inshallah ta'ala, we'll continue from where we stopped of the life of Imam Malik. I had the slide for last week, so I'm just going to show you here. So this is what we did last week, that when he was born, his father, and how his grandfather was also a student of Aisha radhiyallahu anha, Umar, Usman, Ali, and Talha radhiyallahu anhum, writing the Quran, and also his grandfather was one of the people who helped at the time of Usman radhiyallahu anhu, that writing the Quran. His uncle was a teacher of Imam Zuhri. His father and brother, brother Nadar, they're all scholars. So he's from a scholarly family. But as a young boy, as we mentioned, that he was not into the studying, not into the learning about the deen. He wanted to be a singer, as we say. He used to wear a earring, and although his mother Alia, she used to dress him up, and tell him to go to the teachers, to the sheikhs. But he was not into that. But we stopped there. That we said that one day his father asked a question to him and his brother, the elder brother Nadar. And Nadar could answer that, but obviously he didn't have that knowledge, so Imam Malik couldn't answer that question to his father. And his father said, you're just wasting your life playing with pigeons, because playing with pigeon was like a famous games at that time. Like we have Xboxes and other things in our time. So they used to spend a lot of time. So he said, you're wasting your life. So this talk of his father, this disappointment of his father actually struck him, and he started learning from that. That's when his journey began. So we'll talk about few of his teachers today, because we need to know these people, because they learn from these people. So and then inshallah ta'ala we'll also mention some of the characteristics that when he became a person of knowledge in the mid-age of his life, how are those qualities. So his first teacher, actually before this teacher Ibn Hurmuz, he had another teacher that his mom used to send, but he used to go to the teacher, but nothing is to learn from him, just used to sit down. That teacher name was Rabia. He was a famous scholar in Medina at that time. But anyway, so his professional first teacher was Ibn Hurmuz, and he said, Imam Malik himself said, I learned from him straight 7 years. So for 7 years, he didn't go to any other teacher. So he was just sitting with him every day, and he used to go to his house before the Fajr starts, and he tried to spend all his time with him. And in that meantime, he used to do khidmah, helping him in the household, just like Abu Hanifa did with his teacher Hammad. Anybody remember? Probably don't forget. Okay, but Hammad was the teacher of Abu Hanifa, the first teacher. So so just like that, he served a lot. And one thing that he learned from him, that the methodology of I don't know. So that is if you read Maliki Madhab, and especially the life of Imam Malik, he taught his students, and he also learned from his teacher how to say I don't know. If you don't know anything, they don't want to take the risk to say something from their own mind, and and get the sin from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. So he said la adri. So la adri means I don't know. So he used to say la adri. And it was almost like a methodology by Ibn Hurmuz to Imam Malik. You learn to know. Just because you are learning and you are knowledgeful, don't answer everything. Just try to learn. And this actually came from one of the Sahaba that we discussed, Abdullah ibn Umar. That's why we did the Sahaba first, the famous four Abdullahs, because you will see their influences here. Like in Hanafi Madhab, which Sahaba has the most influence in Hanafi Madhab? Anybody remember? Yes, Abdullah ibn Masud. And here you will see Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Umar Azlan. Actually, not only Abdullah ibn Umar, even the family of Umar ibn Khattab, the father and the son Abdullah ibn Umar, and then later on his grandson, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz was like a hero for Imam Malik. So Imam Malik was a young man at that time when Umar ibn Abdul Aziz was the Khalifa. So he was like a hero for him, because he was a man of Sunnah, he was a man of righteousness, so they used to follow him. Now the second teacher was Nafi Maula Abdullah ibn Amr Umar. We talked about Nafi before, that he was a freed slave of Umar. So Maula means freed slave. So Abdullah ibn Umar had him as a slave first, then he freed him. But Nafi never left Abdullah ibn Umar till he passed. He always with Abdullah ibn Umar, and he learned from him. And Nafi became a teacher of Imam Malik. And this is the chain. It's called the golden chain of hadith. If you ever study hadith science, you will know there is a golden chain, and the chain is from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Abdullah ibn Umar, and from Abdullah ibn Umar to Nafi, and from Nafi to Imam Malik. So these three persons, Abdullah ibn Umar, Nafi, and Imam Malik, this chain is called the golden chain of the hadith, and that's the most authentic chain. And Nafi was a person, very like an introvert type of person. So he was not like a person that he has his own halakha and everything. He was very, very much into his own world. So that's why Imam Malik had a hard time to get into in his touch, but still he was able to do that because he was a man of knowledge, and he went to Nafi say, what Abdullah ibn Umar used to know. I just want to know what Abdullah ibn Umar used to do in this matter. So he asked a lot of questions regarding different masail, and Nafi used to answer him, and he spent a lot of time also with Nafi. The third teacher was Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri. As we mentioned last week also, Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri was appointed by Umar ibn Abdul Aziz as the first hadith collector. And Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri also was a great scholar. And some people say his wife, like there's a narration from the wife of Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri, his wife said, if you married another 3 women, I have no jealousy for them. But I have more jealousy with your books, because he used to spend so much time in his own library that he had at that time, with the books, that he has no time for the family. Anyway, Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri also taught a lot of hadith, and his teaching style was a bit different. So he used to taught like 30, 40 hadith at a time. And he used to give it to Imam Malik and ask him, can you repeat back to me? And Imam Malik always has the good memory, because the more and more he went into the knowledge and the journey of knowledge, his memory, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a superficial, like a supersonic knowledge, and he used to remember all the hadiths that mentioned by Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri. The fourth teacher, and this is where, there are other teachers after this one, but they are the famous one, Zafar as-Sadiq. Zafar as-Sadiq, actually he is the great-grandson of Ali radhiyallahu anhu. So he is the grandson of Hussein radhiyallahu anhu. And Zafar as-Sadiq was one of the Imam of Shiites. He is the 6th Imam of the people, the Shia people. They have 12 Imams, so he's the 6th one. But that time Shia was not, it's a different thing altogether. But Jafar as-Sadiq
was claimed to be.
He is claimed to be, yes. So Jafar as-Sadiq was a very, very righteous man. And one of his great quality was that he was never used to talk about any hadith, any sunnah of Rasulullah except that he is in the state of purification. So he always has to wudu, and he used to respect the sunnah of Rasulullah, and that's what Imam Malik used to learn from Jafar as-Sadiq, how to respect the sunnah. So by going through all this teacher, the qualities that he developed, Imam Malik himself, that he has the fear of Allah, the khushu of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is narrated by even Imam Shafi, because Imam Shafi came and learned from Imam Malik. Okay, even Imam Ahmed. So all these and other students of Imam Malik, they said they have never seen such a khushu that they can see in the khushu of Imam Malik. Also, as I mentioned, that Imam Abu Hanifa, because he used to pray a lot night prayers, and standing, in the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he had a mark of sujud. Imam Abu Hanifa had a mark of sujud in his forehead. Because of that, Imam Malik used to pray actually on a very, very soft rug. He doesn't want this sign to be seen by people. He doesn't want people to say that, oh, look, his mark on the forehead, he's a pious man. So just to avoid any kind of show off, any kind of riyah, he used to pray in a very, very soft mark. And he was in much humility in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he has the love for the sunnah, as we mentioned here. He used to say, one of his famous statements, the sunnah is the ark of Noah. Whoever board in this ark, they will be saved. And whoever not into the board of the Noah's ark, the sunnah, they will be destroyed. And that was his famous thing. And just like him, he also used to have a proper purification state, like wudu. He used to dress up properly. But on the other hand, he used to walk Medina most of the time barefooted. And people ask, why do you do this? Because he said that, I fear that these are the places that Prophet ﷺ used to walk. So, but this is not a sunnah, because no Sahaba used to do it. But this is just something from his personal thing. Just like Abdullah ibn Umar, remember, if you remember, this Sahaba Abdullah ibn Umar, he has so much extreme love for Sunnah. Even where the Prophet ﷺ used to relieve himself, urinating himself, he used to stop at the same place, stop the camel at the same place, and get down in the same way. He used to do the exactly same way. And other Sahaba used to told him, why are you doing this? You're making it difficult for the people. And he used to say, no, I do it just for the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he used to do the same thing, okay? But even if you walk in the barefoot in Medina, but when he used to talk in his halakha, in his teaching thing, he was dressed like a king. So he had a very special turban and a good clothes, a perfume, itar, and all these things. And people used to say, even Imam Shafi had one comment, when he used to look at, Imam Malik, we used to see a king and an alim in one body. A king, and so he was like a very good alim, but at the same way he looked like a king. And if you remember last week, we said, his birth was a bit not normal. He was, as mentioned by the narration, that he was in his mother's tummy for a long time, and when he came out as a baby, he has blue eyes and completely, brownish hair. So he's not like a normal Arab, normal Madani people. So that's why when he dressed up like this way, he used to look like king. So he used to, whatever money he had, he used to dress him with dignified way. Just because he is in Islam, he doesn't have to follow that way. No, I have to be in a poor way. I don't have any clothing, nothing. Just save money and this. No, he didn't do that way. Especially, and he used to teach his student also. If you dignify yourself, Allah will dignify you also. So that is the way he used to live. But he was very strict on the other hand, because he loved the Sunnah so much. He was very strict in collecting the hadith, and meaning he never used to take a hadith from a person who is not following the Sunnah. So if he saw a person that he is righteous, is praying 5 times and everything, but he's a bit relaxed and a bit lacking in the Sunnah, he never used to collect hadith. So, and one of the narrators say, if any person he says that there's no beard or anything, never ever. Actually, at that time, during the time of the Imams, at that time, you can't even go to the court and be a witness in a Muslim court if you don't have beard, because you are clearly not following the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he was very, very strict in collecting this hadith. One of the new things that we found in his methodology, that he used to ask his students to present something. So usually at that time in a gathering, the alim used to sit down, they used to recite the hadith or the tafsir, whatever it is, and the student used to write it down. That's how they do it. But he used to teach them one day, and the next day he used to tell his student, you stand up and present what I said yesterday. So and when you say present, it's not only presenting the thing, he used to be dressed up properly, he used to wear a proper jubba, proper Islamic dress, and he has to present what you have learned the before day. So that is something it came. And from this way, actually, the izaza in hadith, not only izaza in Quran and Hifz, the izaza in hadith, in Madina University, in all Islamic university, you have to go through Bukhari, the books of Bukhari and Muslim, and become a hafiz of those things. So you need izaza for those. So those things also came from this methodology, that you have to memorize and present all these things. And also, it was very hard to get into his halakha. So that was like Imam Malik's halakha is not like just like our halakha. Just someone come and sit down, someone doesn't like, go away, nobody cares. Our time, we're very relaxed in this thing. But at that time, because he was the Imam of Medina, people, it's like getting into Harvard nowadays, And there are a lot of stories like this, people used to send, a lot of requests. But if you see that there's nothing inside you, your family is not that righteous, or you're not very, focused on Sunnah, you're rejected. So one of the story of one of the student, Hisham ibn Ammar, so he came and he said that my father sold all the house and properties in Syria, he is from Syria, just for me to go and learn from Imam Malik. Imagine the father selling everything. Just like, sometimes our country, in back home, people sell everything to go to, some other country to earn money or something, or send them as a foreign student. So that's what they did. And he went, but he didn't know the status of Imam Malik in Medina. So he came to his halakha, he just get in, and he said, Hadithni, teach me hadith. So other students said, why he's talking to Imam Malik like this? Because they have to have a proper manner how to talk to the scholar. So he kept continuing like this. Imam Malik didn't say anything, because Imam Malik understood maybe he's new in the area or something. But few students take him to the side. We have our brother Imran Bhai, someone like this, very aggressive, and he took him outside. And he said, why are you talking like this? and he beat him. He beat this guy Hisham. So Hisham was very sad. What did I do wrong? I just asked you to teach, and why are you beating me? So the guy beat him, and he went inside. So Imam Malik finished the halakha, and he went out, and he see this guy sitting outside and crying. So Hisham saw Imam Malik, and he said, "You did zulm on me. You did zulm on me, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask." So Imam Malik was shocked, because this is serious now. This person is saying, claiming that I have done zulm. So he said, "What happened?" So the man described what happened. That someone came from your halakha, some of his student, and beat me up because I asked you like this. Then Imam Malik said, "I'm really sorry. What you want me to do that you can forgive me?" So he said, you have to teach me what you teach inside. Every single hadith that you taught in the last few hours, you have to taught me. So he taught him everything. And he said, "Yeah, you have to taught me as many times as the guy beat me." So the guy beat me 30 times. He gave me 30 blow. Okay, so he teach me 30 hadith. So Imam Malik sat down with him and taught him 30 hadith, and he said, "Are you happy now? Is it okay? The matter is solved. So you forgive me?" He said, "Yes, the matter is solved, but I want that guy to come and beat me again a few more times so that I can learn few more hadith." Okay. So Imam Malik laughed. Okay, and Imam Malik said, "Okay, that's fine. From today, you will be my student." So and he became a famous student later on. Also, the story with Harun al-Rashid. Harun al-Rashid was the Khalifa of that time. There are different Khalifa in Imam Malik. When he was born, it was the Umayyad dynasty at that time. And then slowly, when he became older, became a scholar. So Harun al-Rashid was in the power. So Harun al-Rashid, there was a time actually that Khalifa in Jummah time, Khalifa will come to the masjid and there will be a chair placed for Khalifa. So he will be sitting on the chair. It's like a throne kind of thing, not probably like a bigger chair, just to distinguish from other people. So everybody will be sitting on the floor on the masjid, but he will be sitting on the chair because he's a Khalifa. And he will listen to the khutbah of the Imam of that masjid. So, but this tradition was stopped by Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, but then it came back again in Abbasiyad time because they have more money, more relaxation, and all the stories. So anyway, Harun al-Rashid came and he sat down on the chair. So Imam Malik came and he went to go to the khutbah, and he saw that he's sitting. So he didn't say anything. He just went to the mimbar. He said the khutbatul hajah, and then he mentioned one hadith. He said, "Whoever lower himself in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will exalt him." He said only one line hadith, and he sat down. He didn't say anything else. Harun al-Rashid, he understood what he meant, because he said, "Whoever lower himself for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will exalt him." He felt humility. Harun al-Rashid understood what happened. And Imam Malik is not even, and that's the first khutbah. After the first khutbah, you sit down and you go for the second khutbah. So he's not standing up; he's sitting down. So Harun al-Rashid understood, and he called people. He said, "Take this chair out of the masjid." So when the chair went out of the masjid, Imam Malik stood up and give the next khutbah and continue the khutbah. So Harun al-Rashid understand what's happening actually. And then later on, Harun al-Rashid requested him that, "Would you please come to my house, come to my palace and teach my children?" So Imam Malik said, "Okay, I will think about it." He didn't say no in front of him. So he didn't come back. And then Harun al-Rashid sent a lot of gifts, like a lot of gold coins and everything. But he said, "I don't want the money and everything. Okay, when I will have time, I will think about it and I'll answer him." So Harun al-Rashid understand actually Imam Malik doesn't want to come, because it's not because Imam Malik is an arrogant person. It's because he wants to respect the Sunnah, the way the Sahaba taught in front of Rasulullah, the way the knowledge should be accurate. So Harun al-Rashid sent his children, and later on any other family members of Khalifa also who are in higher position, they all had to send their children to learn from Imam Malik into the masjid. He never will go to their house and teach like individually, okay? Just to show the respect of knowledge, of respect of deen. And as you all mentioned, there's a small story, and from that story actually, he got a title, the Imam of Medina, and inshallah ta'ala we'll finish with that story. This story is narrated in many places, in any books that you picked up in the life story of Imam Malik. So it sounds a bit, like maybe exaggeration, but this is true, and it's narrated by so many people. That one day what happened, a Muslim lady passed away in Medina, and some other ladies were giving her ghusl. Okay, when they were giving her ghusl, so one of the lady was cleaning the thigh area, the private part area of that lady, and she said that this part used to commit zina. So the lady who's giving the ghusl, she's cleaning that part and saying this part used to do zina. Once she said that, her hand got stuck to the thigh of the dead lady. Okay, and everybody got stuck. So imagine a dead body, and they're giving shower, and her hand got stuck, because that lady, obviously probably a righteous lady, And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, she doesn't want this lady to do ghibah on a dead lady, okay, and that's why her hand got stuck, and people went crazy. What's happening here? Obviously, say it's something karama from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a punishment for that lady. They went here and there asking everybody, nothing is happening. So obviously they went to the Imam Malik, because they asked other scholars. The Imam Malik said, what happened? So everything was presented in front of Imam Malik. He said, do as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, the punishment of those who say bad things, the evil things about a righteous lady. The story of Surah An-Nur, as Allah mentioned that you have to lash them, 80 lashing, because they said something bad about the righteous lady. So that's what they did. So they start lashing her, so her hand is stuck, and they covered the dead body, and they are lashing her. And once this 80 is finished, the hand came out. Automatically the hand came out. And from that day, everybody said, the fatwa of Imam Malik is the fatwa of Medina. So they said, La yufti Malik fil Medina, meaning nobody is allowed to give fatwa. And that from that day, he became the undisputed Imam of Medina. And nobody actually else, even after that, even today, nobody can claim that thing, that he is the Imam of the Medina, because of his love of Sunnah, because of the way he is to teach his people, and because of how he is to maintain his whole lifestyle. Is the example that he is the true follower, like a walking Sunnah, just like Abdullah ibn Umar. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll finish it here. Next week, inshallah, we'll go to the political part, how is to deal with the other the Khilafah at that time, and then we'll talk about this one. Just one last thing, I will show you that because of his love of Rasulullah, he used to leave that place. He's so close to the Prophet of Allah, and that was the house of Abdullah ibn Masud actually. So the Green Dome, obviously. That's the and look how close is that. So this is where he used to teach his student. This is where he used to live also. That is his house basically, and he bought it. When Abdullah ibn Masud passed away, it went to some other people, some other tabi and tabi'in, but somehow he managed money and bought that place. So he used to live so close to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's grave. And whenever he used to teach people, he used to say that the student used to say, he always mentioned a hadith. He used to say, only one person you can take and granted without any doubt, and that is who is sleeping there. So he used to point his finger to the grave of Rasulullah because it's so close, So they used to do this way. So inshallah ta'ala we'll finish it here. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.